Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on May 28th, 2023 at approximately 4:30 p.m. PST. Now, I returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I build myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally live by and personally use in my day to day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the ones that I guide my life with. Now, with that in mind, and right off the bat, we have Nathan coming through the door with the gold. I tell you, things have been, to say the least, a little hectic here. But on the plus side, yesterday I was on here a lot longer than I was intending on. And between that and the fact I ended up sleeping, I think 9.5 hours, 6, 7, 9. Yeah, I ended up sleeping 9.5 hours yesterday. So I do believe I probably pushed it a little hard. But hey, what the heck? Now let us see what we got here. Just shifting over to make sure now what am I got, what I'm looking at is making certain everything's actually running properly, which is a neat challenge to start with. Emmy, how you doing? You've come in with the silver, and thank you so much for that. Yeah, I said, I was just waiting until my son's grad and the initial grad side of it was done. But I am good. I am glad it's appealing. I always look at it and go, things don't always turn out the way I'd like them to. Yeah, but you get used to the dying thing. It's just kind of redundancy. That's all. You know, But no, now what I'm looking at is getting the rest of stuff moving in the right direction. And that should be with live chat so it all shows up. There we go. Well, now, anyway, back to the business at hand. Take that and put that out of the way because I don't need it there. And that little sheet is almost pointless. Tear that in half. This is what I end up doing when I get through scrap paper. And I've got to move that around, so I'm probably going to move some of that around today anyway. But the nice part about it, like I'm looking at things. I just got finished a long game. We literally just finished it about 10 minutes ago, so didn't have a lot of time to get things reorganized. On the other hand, had enough time to get my coffee. The thing is, the temperature here is getting to be somewhat buggy. We are sitting right now at 27, which is just shy of 90 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, so yeah, here we are at, what are we? 4:30 and we're still close to 90, which is interesting to say the least. Yeah, I like the way you put that, Nathan. You know, Nathan goes, remember, breathe, relax. Hectic isn't good for most of us. Not usually. Where are we here? Let us scroll down. Nathan just saying he posted cosplay and convention pics on his Facebook. I do appreciate that, and I will absolutely take a look at it. The whole catch for my end, like I was intending on being there. I don't do cosplay anymore. I used to actually get dressed for Halloween. But that kind of went the way of the dodo bird the more reclusive I became. But at this point, so let's just see if I can find some of that. Let's see if we go to Facebook. Yahoo, Facebook. Okay, what do we got here? Whoop. Okay, Nathan, where are you? Nope. Could have sworn I saw you there. And since it's not showing up, I'll do it this way. There we go. That should be. There we are. I will tell you, Nathan, my youngest son, Cameron, would just absolutely love these pics. I will have to make a point of it. You know, a point of showing it to him after the show. Well, that was annoying. But just looking at some of the pictures you got here on your site, and what have we got? Well, that's not working as well as I would like. The really funny part about it, what do we got here? The way I look at it, I can multitask really well, but the second I start working with computers, apparently that becomes a bit of an issue. So we're just not going to do that. Got that over there, that can stay there. So how about if we don't go down that rabbit hole? But in the meantime, what I'm looking at with the office here is quite literally getting it organized so I can actually get the writing done that I need to. Now, I think this stuff is that's just blank pages, which is fine. That's all been moved. It's funny when I started looking at how to develop this and the whole work site, I've had to really go back and go through it and figure it out one step at a time. Oh, that I do feel for you there. Hey, welcome on board, Derek. What do we got? Nathan, Emmy, Derek, you are in with the bronze. And I do feel for your munchkin. How old is the little guy? Thank you so much, there, Derek. I really do feel for kids that have an earache. It's just no fun at all. Oh heavens, 4 years old and an earache? That's really not going to be fun for him. The neat part about it is he will bounce through it. There's no doubt there. But can he be absolutely miserable? You bet. What's this? Yeah, he's just getting things. Yeah. The neat little part about it, you know, the neat little part about it when you've got a munchkin that ends up ill is everything comes to a standstill. I was just talking to my eldest this morning. No, this afternoon. He was just double checking to make sure I can go and give him a hand to tidy things up again. And to finish tidying up his apartment. Because he'll be moving in next week. Okay. Which is the first time in 5 years he'll be living at home. Yeah, Emmy, I've gotten very few earaches. I ended up being really having a bad ear infection. Didn't cause pain, but it plugged my hearing so badly that on my phone, or not on my phone, on my TV, I would have to crank it all the way to 100 just to hear it. Now that I've got the infection all cleared out, quite frankly, I've got the phone turned way back down to 9 most of the time. You know, Sometimes I'll get it where I can turn it down to 6. Yeah, sometimes it can. I'm actually amazed I don't get more of them because the reality is my teeth are a shambles. And much as I'm good at healing, I haven't entirely figured out how to bypass that problem. But I think I know what's been holding me up. And that's the fact I was looking for causality. What was causing the decay? Having done that, when I finally realized the body doesn't, I don't require knowing exactly what's causing it. I just have to simply reorganize it. And I do believe that's going to be the key in turning it around. Now, I mean, from that standpoint, and I'll do this again a little while later, but like I said, just got finished gaming. We've got an interesting crew. Like there's only 3 of us plus the game master that actually game, but we still game tabletop. And like my son is running a chap that is in a wheelchair. He's a mage. He's a mage engineer stuck in a wheelchair, right? And he's a wood elf. So from that standpoint, that's the one character. Okay, so he's not a frontline fighter. He is simply a thinker. Then we've got the other character who is a full drow pacifist. Okay, the guy doesn't even like watching torture. And then my character, who is half drow, half orc, and he is a dark druid bard. That sort of depends, Emmy. On Thursdays, we run from 3 until anywhere from 8 until 10. Right. On Sundays, we start at 10 and usually round about 10 and usually end around about 3 to 3:30. But I mean, this has been going on for me. I started gaming in 1976. Okay, tabletop gaming. At the time, there was only one hardcover book, and that was the DMG. We are now playing a kind of a homebrew because it takes elements out of not only multiple generations of D&D, but also out of some of the other game systems. But we have a lot of fun with it, and bearing in mind that 3 of us have gamed for well over 20 years each. In my case, a little longer. Well, you think about it, 76. In my case, I've been gaming for 45 years now. Almost. I've been averaging 2.5, I've been averaging twice a week of gaming tabletop for the last 45 years. There was a time when I was gaming 5 and 6 nights a week. That'll make it easier. JCL, how you doing? And I do believe, if I am correct, let's see. Derek came in there. Nathan, Emmy, Derek, Gallan, Emmy. And yes, JCL, you have come in with honorable mention. Hopefully your day is going well. And we left that sit there. Okay, let's go back up here and see if we can find what we're looking at here. There we are. Okay. Yeah, I'll deal with that in a little bit. Well, that's an interesting situation. I'm looking at this and I'm just not seeing it. So I will definitely go back and look at it a little later. I will have to deal with that a little while. But no, the way I figured, I've had to really turn things around and start getting very focused. In case you hadn't noticed, that's not a strong suit coming right out of the gaming day. What have we got? Eternity has shown up. How we doing, Eternity? Glad you could join us. And Shade, glad you're here. Yeah, it's going to be it should be a busy day today, but what I'm looking at right now is getting some of this mess out of the way because it's just going to annoy me if I don't, and that's usually not a good sign. No, I was really surprised this morning though. It's really comical when you think about it. Up until my job was actually terminated because they actually closed the company, or at least the Canadian branch of it, it seems. I was always behind in everything. You know, the neat part of it. Oh, excellent, JCL. I am so glad to hear that. I am in the process of, and it's one of those things I'm going to finish off tonight. I've just decided. Yesterday, I lost a lot of time. You know, I ended up sleeping 9.5 hours yesterday, which might give you an idea how long and how hard I've been pushing. But I figure if I'm going to make things happen, it's not going to happen because the government decides to step up and say, hey, let's give them a hand, or because some corporation says, hey, we're going to help you with this. And by helping you with this, we'll get your marketing working. That's not going to happen. I've literally had to come to the conclusion that believing that is going to happen is causing more problems than what it's worth. So I'm thinking, okay, where do I go from here? Apparently fall down. Not quite, but that was close. Now I got a shock and a half this morning. I figured out how to actually make these funny little things here work. Now, I'm sure you've heard all kinds of neat little problems or neat little ideas. That, in case you don't recognize it, is a credit card. Okay. Now, the neat part about it is it doesn't really matter what the interest rate is. In today's world, having a credit card is usually a beneficial thing. Okay. Though this one here is a bank card that, as you can see, this one isn't a credit card. But as you can see, it's also listed as a Visa. Okay, which means I can use it for online banking, for online purchasing. Okay, check with your own bank how that works. But what I did find is when you talk to the professionals, they suggest with a credit card, you do not spend more than 30% of what's on the card before you pay it off. What do we got here? Oh, no, that's why I keep up my hand over the finger. Okay, and besides that, you'll notice that you cannot, with credit cards. I do appreciate the caution there, though, Nathan. The thing is, I got told by the professionals, you never spend more than 30% of the balance. Okay. However, before you clear it off again, when I was talking to a professional one day, okay, to a professional, like another person, very well off, and he said, "Look, okay, I gotta ask what we're referring to here, Nathan." Oh, okay, yeah. Unfortunately, I came to the conclusion a long time ago that when you're looking at the way the world is right now, we have a major problem on our hands. Now, this is one of the reasons why showing people, and that's why I said, the idea is very simple. And you are right, I don't tend to worry a lot about a lot of things. But I was told by a guy that was extremely well off. He goes, look, the banks and the professionals will tell you don't spend more than 30%. I'm telling you, where it comes to using a credit card, you do not spend more than 10%. You get up to 10%, pay it off, and carry on. If you have to go over the 10% mark, turn around. If you've got to go over the 10% mark, turn around and pay, and do not say use it again until it's under the 10%. Okay, now this works very well in most cases, but you still have to be aware of what you're doing with it. Okay, now the thing is, if you take a look at a credit card and you say, okay, I can go 30%. If your paycheck will not enable you to pay that 30% plus your living expenses that you have to deal with, it is not wise to push it that far. You know, so what I found is I now know what I talked to a financial advisor. I had one call the other day. I looked at him and I said, let me ask you. And this is the first question I always recommend you ask a financial advisor. Ask them point blank. Do they know how much money they have in their own possession? How much money they've got access to? Okay, most of them will tell you roughly. They'll say, yeah, pretty much. Okay. And, and then they'll go, we'd like to help you invest. And I look at them and go, okay, first and foremost, have you tracked your finances to the penny? Do you know exactly how much money you've got in your possession right now? 99% of them will tell you, no, I don't. Okay. And at that point, I'll look at them and go, nope, not going to talk to you about investing. You don't know what you're doing yet. You don't know how to control your money. You don't know how to invest properly. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people are phenomenally lucky when it comes to actually making money, even if they don't know what they're doing with it. I don't know how they pull it off. What I do know is I now have a ratio set up where I'm already deliberately putting money aside to afford a trip to the next. Well, I've got one trip to make this fall because I am absolutely planning on heading for Texas. Okay, I am planning on heading for Texas to visit a friend of mine. Okay, some of you probably know them, but the reality of it is I will be hanging down there and I've just got to get things organized to do it right. Now what I'm looking at though is I know exactly. I've looked into how much money it's going to cost me to fly down, next year to the SOR party, wherever it ends up being. I'm planning on being there, and I'm already gauging for it at this point. In the meantime, I've got 7 books in print. Okay, and I'm aiming at having 1, 2, at least 3 more out by the end of this year. Those 3 being Races of the Worlds, the second printing, the Return to Paradise of the Yldrbac Chronicles, and Believe in Your Finances and Follow Your Dreams. These 3 books are the primary ones I'm working on. Now, I started telling you something about the game that we were playing today, the D&D game, and the 3 of us were walking along through the wilderness, and a white dragon descended upon us, just a young one. Okay, well, because of the fact that one of us is a druid and the other one is and another is a cleric, we both hit call lightning at the same time. Actually, what we did was what the game master permitted us to do was we actually cast call lightning twice. Right. So this poor dragon just got pummeled with lightning bolts, which from my standpoint worked out really well. And now we've got some interesting things going on. Oh, there we are. Derek saying, whoa, don't want to do that. Derek is just saying the SOR party has 100% been confirmed for Reno, Nevada next year. Now, that ought to be a riot. See, the neat part with Reno is, I don't gamble a lot. I've been into a casino 9 times in my life. 8 of them I came out with more money than I went in with. Because no, I don't count cards, I don't do any of that side of things. I just figured out how to make it work properly. Okay, which is why I can go into a casino and come back out with more money than I started with. Oh, heavens, yeah. You know, I will tell you, Nathan, the reason I don't worry too much about the bots, okay, I know what they can do, but that's why when I'm hanging on to something, right? Like if I'm holding on to this, you can tell what it is, but you're going to have a heck of a time reading any of it. Do I know that they're rampant? Certainly. But here's why I don't personally put a lot of worry into it. Okay. Way back before Donald Trump became president, Donald Trump's lawyer, and you knew it was Donald Trump's lawyer because of the fact you could hear all the noise in the background. Okay. But his lawyer called me, and they already had a complete dossier on me. Now, I'm nobody to speak of, or at least I always thought that way. Okay. But they phoned me, and about 3 months later, I ended up with a member of the CIA showing up on my doorstep, looking for me by name regarding the information I've got on UFOs. Now, I don't know about you, but when you got that before everything goes and gets right carried away on the automated side, I looked at it and went, worrying about whether people know where I am, not functional. Okay, I know what's coming. Unfortunately, this is something that we see. I mean, unfortunately, it's coming the way it is. Fortunately, we can actually shift gears on it. Okay, so what I'm looking at this point, with the whole way that I'm taking this channel, is to go, okay, how can we take your life and make it more enjoyable, make it something that you can actually look forward to? And that you don't need. You know, because the reality is, if we continue down the same road we're on, then quite honestly, if we continue down that road, we are going to run into some pretty serious problems. Not the least of which is that the shortages that people talk about, the food shortages, the land shortages, all of this is set to happen. Okay, this is a lousy way to look at it, but very much a real one. Okay, now when we were gaming today, we took out this dragon, right, which was great. Ended up making one heck of a collection. We still don't know where the city is we're looking for. We're stuck in the middle of nowhere. But we're trying to head south because he started us off in the far north. I swear he started us off halfway into the Arctic Circle. So none of us are real happy about that, but we are making our way home. We are making our way south. But when you've got a cripple in a crippled mage in a wheelchair, now he's automated the system, or he's working on automating it, is more to the point, automating his wheelchair. But we just picked up a whole pile of white dragon armor. Net result, we are going to be upgrading our gear. That'd be first and foremost. Then we have the second character, which is a pacifistic drow. The guy won't even watch us play with people. Okay. Now he is the funny part there. He's a purebred drow, and he is half owner. No, he is he's actually a chaotic good drow, which is really twisted. Which is why he left the Underdark. My character happens to be a half drow, half orc. Needless to say, a little temperamental. But as I told the game master, my character is a bard that will start a fight to get a story. Now we're just looking where to begin and where to set up shop, if you will. You know, the one thing I have found is that the more you have visually intact, the more senses you can involve in your dreams. Okay, the more readily that dream will come to fruition. Now, I know you've been pushing limits there, like Nathan, I know in your case, you've been pushing limits to really start to build your show. Okay, and I realize you're working a whole lot of time, but I am kind of curious how big you would like your show to get, your stream to get. You know, in my case, I started looking at it and went, okay, I was asked to do it a lot, right? So I finally started doing it and went, I'll see how it works out. And then eventually it was like, okay, I've looked into this. When I can reach a thousand viewers, I can make a little bit of money at it. And then it dawned on me, that is true because that's the limit they have. Derek, I have never worried about whether bots speak Chinese or whether they speak Korean, or for that matter, whether they speak semaphore. The fact of the matter is, a bot is a side effect of modern technology. And people, it's literally the side effect of people trying to do things the easy way without taking responsibility for their own actions. Okay, they're fire and forget problem starters. And now that's just my personal opinion. This being said, do I still use a computer? Do I still rely on a phone? On these things, do I still work with them? The answer is yes. But where they're made does not really make a whole lot of difference to me. And the way I appreciate the info. The fact of the matter is this. My brother, decades ago, built a virus scanner that if they wanted it, so I know this scanner exists. Okay. And it's a cure for virus for these bots. My brother built a scanner and he has passed away, by the way. Okay. But he built a scanner that if a virus got on board his scanner on his computer, his scanner would track that virus down to where it was originally built and then burn the motherboard out of all computers involved. Okay. Now I know my brother built it, so I know it's out there. I'm also absolutely certain that either one of the major tech companies or one of the governments grabbed hold of that info and shut it down. Okay. To what end, I can only guess. You know, in all fairness, and the nice part there, Derek, Derek's going, in my opinion, people should give you compensation for the years of loyalty you've shown them, but that's a topic for another day. The odd part about it is that's actually a topic that we can cover right now. Okay. This is why on Sundays, part of the issue of having Sundays as open topic is so that I don't have to try and figure out what to do on a day that I'm striving the game or that I'm just getting off the gaming table. You know, but karmic law is very clear. Energy out, energy in. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And you must be true to yourself first. Now, you combine those three, and you've got an issue of if you feel that you should be compensated for being loyal, as in beyond just the paycheck, then absolutely, if you're running a company, okay, absolutely you should absolutely be doing that for the company, for the people you've hired. Now, in my case, I will tell you wholeheartedly, I absolutely agree with you. And with that in mind, now where is it? Should be this one. Nope, not that one. Like I said, my whole database is on cardstock. Okay. So what I'm going through right now is taking the information I've got, going back through these are all the files that I had. So I'm going back through these to find out who has already bought a book and writing them into the database. It doesn't matter which book. Like I said, I've got 7 in stock. Okay. Whoops. I will be right back. This one I sort of have to deal with. Welcome to live. Okay, my apologies. This is one of the things about a live feed. Okay, so I'm just looking at this whole stack here. There's a bunch of people that I know have bought books, and like I said, with Races of the Worlds, I will be sending out a copy to everybody I've got the address for. And yeah, I realize, if you think about it, Races of the Worlds has the current edition has 64 pages and 59 races. With the second printing, because it has pictures and a bunch of extra information. Okay, what's happening is it's already at 85 pages and growing. But it doesn't change what I said. When I said I was going to send a copy to everybody that has already got one, I was not kidding about that. For some bizarre reason, the new edition, when it comes out, will, for obvious reasons, be a little bit more expensive. Something about the fact that it's going to cost, in all likelihood, at least double what the first one did. But we'll see what happens on that. I just don't know for certain how much it's going to cost because I haven't got it finished writing. But I'm going to keep it as inexpensive as I can get away with. So right now, this is just a question of making certain I find out. And where are we here? Should actually pull that up. Where is video Beyond the Portal, book 12, and Aries? Okay, I've got to go through that. That's right. But with that in mind, let's open that up and get another book up here, which is open, and we want, where is, I'm just looking for Races of the Worlds. And of course, that's not going to work the way I want it to, so we're doing it this way. This is what I get for having having three monitors. Makes it so much easier in a lot of ways, but a bit problematic at the same time, especially if your brain goes in 15 different directions at once. Now, where do we got? That's Races of the World itself. Second printing, and then where is, think that might be, no, that's second printing. So where is, must be in this one. Okay, what do we got? Races of the World, Volume 2. Okay, that makes more sense. Put that up there. Move that one up there. Move that up there. And then we turn around and we get That one. Live stream. So we are here. I just had to move a few things up on the monitor so I could see it. Like I said, this is why I say it's live. Understand, I will not go back and even try to figure out how to edit. Because the way I figure it, if I'm going to turn around and say something is live, that means whether you look at it now or you look at it a decade from now, you're still going to see the same way that I was. Okay. That's just the reality of it. And there we are. See, I've got a number of addresses here, and I don't know if I've got all of them by any means. But we'll see how that works. But, question for you guys. Do any of you have a dream that you haven't been able to get started on? See what this is. He's over there. That's not where I want him. Put that there. I'm looking for, that is not the one I want. I always love when I can't find exactly what I'm aiming for. Okay, what is that? That is not what I want. YouTube. Oh, that's what I did. That is not the thing I need. What are we? Yeah. Okay, I completely scrambled my brain here. I'm dang certain of it. Boy, that was close. In any event, let's close that down. Close that down. Close that one down. Close that one down. Way too many windows open. Way too many windows. So we'll just open up and close the whole pile of them and then get onto that one. There we go. Now I'm back where I can actually read. Whoop. There we are. Now I've got the chat room back up where I can actually see it. So what do we got here? Yeah, Derek's just going, I know you do out of kindness. It's fine, totally fine every once in a while. It would be fine. The nice part there, well, what I am looking at, Derek's just going, it would be nice if people would come together and form a team. It would be cool. And this is something I am looking at spearheading. Haven't figured out how I'm going to do it yet, because technology and me are, to say the least, a little bit at odds. Okay, we don't exactly see eye to eye most of the time. That's just the reality of it. But what I am striving to do is find people that are actually in that kind of a mindset, because this idea of working to hurt each other just to make a buck doesn't work for me very well. In case you hadn't noticed, people talk about this idea that the world is in serious trouble. And as the late Robin Williams put it, there are thousands of plans for peace and very, very little in the way of action. And that is, to say the least, a little bit of a problem. And this is something we have to start seriously looking at and deciding, are we going to continue talking about and focusing on the way the world has gone to heck in a handbasket? If I take a look up here, let's go to Facebook here. And right in the top right corner, let's see if we go there. Okay. Now, we take a look at this. And the first things we're seeing, is this promise that you get a credit card. Okay. You get a credit card, you can absolutely start making money with it, which is a cute thought. But let me ask you this. Did you realize You know, did you realize that if you actually pay the credit card off every month, you don't have to worry about that interest, the interest rate they're charging you? Now that is an interesting idea, Derek. Um, I gotta ask you, Derek, because I'll tell you, you have some phenomenal marketing ideas. You really do. So let me ask you this. Are you actually working in marketing yet? Okay, or as far as an actual job goes. It's just a curiosity thing on my part. Because I'll tell you, the reality is, you are absolutely correct. If we start making a point of dropping in on other people's websites, on their channels, and I'm a bad one for it because, well, let's face it, I get a little sidetracked. But the reality is, it wouldn't be that hard, even for me. Okay, it would not be that hard to turn around and go, okay, yes, I am writing. Okay, but when I'm just writing on my own and I'm not working on editing with my other half, it really isn't that difficult for me to continue writing while I got the channel running. So what I should do, and I'll ask you guys this: some of you guys have YouTube channels already up and running. Let me just grab a blank sheet of paper here so I can actually do what I need to do properly. Way too many notes. There we go. Now, I think that's actually an excellent idea, and I cannot do anything about other people's outlook on it. But what I do, walk off with all my pens? Okay, now obviously I'm going to be on here. There we go. Um, and Nathan, how you doing? I think I saw you. Oh, I did see you come in earlier. Okay. I'm gonna ask you guys something. And Nathan, since you're the first one I'm spotting, I'll do it this way. You know, what is the date and time of your actual show? Or more to the point, the day and time. Oh yeah, no, I remember that now. It's just my brain goes on hold on occasion. Actually, I think more accurately it comes back into alignment on occasion. Now, I know as a matter of fact, I do know I've got your site here. Where are we here? Pull up, whoop, pull up video info. There we are. Now, this is the link to Nathan's show. Okay, so we bring that down here, and we pop that in, and now we got that up. Now, Nathan, if you would be kind enough to let us know what day you run your show on and what time. Oh, there we go. It already is. Saturday at 9 p.m. Central. Okay. Because this is quite honestly, I will repost this information. But the reality of it is for me to strive and to strive to get things organized, I've got to get a list together to make sure I know what I'm up to. Okay. But I can add this information. I can add to the post when I bring your channel up, where it says here's the link, here's the time, and I can do that so it all comes up at the same time without any problem at all. And the people I've got the sites on, that I've got the websites for, I will quite readily do that, and then see what I can do. Like I said, it's really not that hard for me to multitask and do the writing I'm working on while I'm listening to another show in the background. That's the easy part. Okay, might even end up with the occasional comment, but I've got to be, in my eyes, if I'm going to make things grow, I've got to be the one getting my tail feathers on the ground. Okay, I've got to get off the chair and start making things happen. And this is why I was asking, where are we here? This is why I was asking you, Derek, if you're actually a marketer, because the reality is you've got some phenomenal ideas. Okay. And it's that sort of thing that I've got to sort of take a look at, because when it comes to marketing my own stuff, little bit of a hiccup. Okay. I did so. Detuned myself, not exactly. I was starting to get really itchy in here there, Nathan. So I just decided it was going. You know, I have talked to my other half, and I asked her to start with, if she preferred it, which way she preferred it. Now, bear in mind, this gives you an idea of where I stand on that note. I asked her if she prefers the beard or without, and she flat out told me she prefers the beard, or prefers the beard to be gone. I told her, I said, "Do you prefer the beard there or gone?" I said, "You're not getting the sideburns there, you're dealing with them." Right. Well, she decided she prefers the clean face, which is great. Something you gotta realize, she has never physically seen my face, nor will she ever in all likelihood. I may be able to correct that once she gets here, but for the moment, it's not happening. Okay. The reason being, as I mentioned, she is 100% blind. Okay. And for me, that's okay. I really don't care. I mean, if you think about it, if she can't see me, I don't have to worry about the way I look. Which is probably an odd way of looking at it, but it is very much the reality. I don't know who that is. So I'm taking a look at it at this point and going, okay, how do we make things work? How do we get word out? Because we got to take this world and start getting people excited about your own life, about the things that you can accomplish. Now, in a sense, by writing, by putting the information I've got on paper, okay, in a sense, I have actually managed to attain that long coveted by many people, that long coveted idea of immortality. Because as long as my books are in print, I'm still here. Now the reality is I'm not going anywhere anytime soon anyway. I didn't know I had that. Of course, it didn't work the last time, so that's okay. But no, I'm just going through these. I've only got at this point a few um physical addresses that I've got that I know for an absolute certainty are here. So I'm just going through them and through the cards now and putting them together. Then I will put together a solid database. And rest assured, the database I'm working with, nobody is going to be able to hack. Because this is what my database is built with. That's why, like I said, I'm very much a dinosaur. Okay. Now, from my end, it boils down to this. I know that visibility is going to be an issue. If I don't get things a little bit more visible, a little bit more mobile, then frankly, getting a stable income outside of a job, okay, it's time I buckle down and go, this is what I'm doing. Now, I decided a long time ago, at least it seems a long time ago, that I was going to get rid of the clutter in my house. Okay, and I have been doing just that. Getting rid of a lot of stuff that I do not require, and thereby turning around and getting the thing streamlined. So, what we've got right now, and I will be as a matter of fact, that is something I better make note of because I got to do it tonight. In the newsletter, I do have to put a list of the books that are available. And again, like I said, I am using the newsletter, just to be clear. Am I going to include a bunch of articles in it about different concepts? You bet. In time, will I end up selling advertising space? The answer is also yes. Never will I ever turn into an advertising magazine. As in, here we have pages upon pages upon pages of advertisement. Not gonna happen. I don't like it. I won't do it. Okay. What do we got here? Philip, how you doing? I'm guessing that means you haven't exactly got one the way you'd like it there, Philip. But yeah, I worked it out. Right now, for me to live what I consider high on the hog. Okay, as in, if I desire to go out for dinner, I can go out for dinner. If I desire to go and buy something at the store within reason, I can go and pick it up. Okay, but I figured it out, and I think it's 94% of my net profit is geared towards profit sharing. Now understand, net profit boils down to when I've got income from all sources coming in and I've covered all of my bills, then whatever's left over is net profit. Okay. And it's that net profit that I've geared up to say, okay, it's net profit. I am therefore going to turn around and use that for profit sharing for literally everybody that I'm working with that is either buying something from me, is helping me with the functional organizing of it. What do we got here? Yeah. Don't mind me there, Philip. Quite often I'm a little dense, shall we say. Okay. But I figured if I'm making money and I'm covering my bills and I can take the net profit and turn around and send it back out. Because net profit, oh, by the way, that does not mean if I'm sending money to somebody that's done something. Okay. And I've got a complete logical schedule laid out, logical table laid out to tell me how much goes where. I've worked all of that out completely. Okay. Now, do understand when I'm talking about profit sharing, I am not talking about using it for a tax write-off. I am not talking about it being for me to hang myself out to dry, and I won't be going, oh, by the way, here is a coupon to get $10 off something else you buy from me. That's not the way this is going to work. Okay. I've already got it laid out. And whether this, the reality is, if I'm just sending money out, I can call it what I will. If I'm not looking at it from a way of getting a tax break, okay, it doesn't matter where it goes. I can do it. I can throw my money out the window if I choose to. Okay. But I have taken into consideration the reality that when I'm looking at, this whole idea of profit sharing, the only way I will be able to profit share, in case you're wondering, is if I have an actual physical address to send things to. Okay, because that's just the way it's going to have to work. Now, I don't know how all the technology side of it works and all of the transfers that can be done electronically. What I do know is in no case am I going to be sending out checks so small or payments so small that we're dealing with pennies. Okay, I've got to rework the numbers today, and I'll be doing that this week because I've got to have this all organized by the time the 17th of June rolls around. Okay, so what I'm looking at there is pretty cut and dried. Okay, I will be sending out not a coupon to get a discount, not a voucher to get a free consultation or whatever. Okay, it will literally be Canadian dollars cash. Period. If you're in a different country, it's still going to come to you in the same way. And you'll have to figure out what that turns around to. Okay. Now I know that sounds a little screwy, but it's the way I'm choosing to do it because it works for me. And I was talking to somebody one day and they looked at me and went, "Well, that's not a good way to run it." I went, "Let me think. My money, my calculation. I'm thinking it works." But I'll tell you, when I did the calculation to start with, I've already figured out where I can actually be spending up to 50% of my net profit when it comes in. But that 50% breach, okay, I've set it up in such a way that I won't get to that 50% until I'm making something in the neighborhood of $100 million a year. Or, sorry, $100 million a month. Okay, yeah, I plan ahead. Okay, so am I looking to make things happen? The answer is yeah, very much. Okay, is it going to require a lot of help, and eventually is it going to require a board of advisors, not a board of directors? I will not hire a board of directors. I don't care how much money I'm sitting on. Okay, and here's the reason why. As I understand it, you bring a board of directors in, let's say you're running a small company yourself, and you're looking at going public, and you've got to have a board of directors. I'll tell you, if it boils down to that, you just don't go public, in my opinion. But if you turn around and you go, and you go public, or you go and you're looking at well, I thought so. And the funny thing is Philip, is I start making $100 million a month, and I'm sending almost 50% of that back out. Okay. Now there is a very definitive formula, so it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. Had to make sense to me. The fact that it made sense to my older brother was great. Bear in mind, my older brother, well, two major factors I'd have to look at there. Derek's just asking, question for the chat and Keith. What would you do if you came across, say, $2 million? What would you do with the money? That's the easy part. Number one, I would take at least half of that and bury it so it was unattainable, unreachable by me, by me myself, except in terms of being able to pay my living expenses. So I didn't have to worry another day in my life about whether I had the income. Okay. Now that would be the first 50%, at least 50%, probably 75. The other 25%, so you're looking at $500,000. And this is going to sound odd. I would undoubtedly take a good chunk of that money, and I'm just throwing a ballpark out there. Say $10,000. Okay. And go to my local food bank and my local SPCA and dump a whole chunk of food into their belongings of non-perishable, not money. I will not take money down. Okay, the rest of the money, the other 400,000 or so, frankly, would end up going to people that I deemed required it, not people that were sitting on the street going, "I'm sitting on the street begging because I don't want to work." I'm talking about people that I know and that I personally have taken a look at the situation and gone, okay, you're actually doing your best to do something. Okay, let's give you a hand. Let's get something cleared up. But it will not be a question, or it would not be a question of just going, here's the money, carry on. I would absolutely sit down with them. And no, I am not a trained financial advisor. Okay. I just happen to have been through the ringer a fair chunk. So I would turn around, sit down, ask what they've been going through, how they've been dealing with it, take a look at it, and show them how to balance it out properly so they're not overextending themselves. Okay, so they don't keep on the same path. Now that being said, would I end up having some sort of a get together or some sort of a party? The answer is yeah, undoubtedly. Because first rule of thumb, you take that money and make sure you at least celebrate a little. Okay. That's where it starts. But the reality is I would go down and look into an orphanage. One thing I undoubtedly would do, and 2 million isn't much to do it, is take a look at possibly at real estate to set up an actual home, you know, to open up an actual home for, a proper orphanage, a proper place where people, and I'm not kidding you on this, where people that have done their time, and I don't mean gone to jail, I mean the people that have put the work in. Okay, might do something with the jail, but um, I would be taking a look at that. Now, Philip's going, I would use it for healthcare and education for myself and family. The rest, I would open a new business venture. And that's the neat part about it, is there's so much you can do. This is one of the reasons why one of the books I'm working with, one of the books that I'm working on writing, the one, Believe in Your Finances and Follow Your Dreams. Okay. It's one of the books that go down that road with money. Same as another one that I'm working on called How to Make Money, and More. Okay. And the reason I'm looking at that is because of the fact that there are so many absolutely brilliant books out there for people, absolutely, that were absolutely. Oh, thank you for clarifying that, Philip. Philip's just saying the last part about opening up a business venture. That was Derek, not Philip. I do appreciate the clarification. I'm not always on the ball in case you hadn't noticed. But, I take a look at it this way. If I'm going to talk about, about doing something to help people get back on track, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to do more than just talk about it when opportunity presents itself. It's an interesting complication on occasion. And this is neat. I'm finding when I pulled all that information together, I've got a whole pile of addresses here that I am going to have to sort out and put together to make sure that I get the book sent when they come out. I tried this idea of getting things set out and go, I'll have it out at the end of this month. Ain't gonna happen that way. Doesn't mean that I won't be working on it. Okay. It's just a question of making absolutely certain that I get things back on track where I can turn around and go, okay, if you've got a couple of dollars, this is what you can do with it. And these are tools that I personally am putting to use. Okay, which is why when I say I bring money in, I will take 10% of my net profit. Now, get this. Okay, to give you an idea how that works. Now, do not like the fact my legs do not work all the way that well all the time. But this book, to print it, cost me $20. Okay, that's to print this novel. Now, the neat part about it is this is why I turned around and went, okay, when I'm selling it, in order to actually turn around and sell it and be able to reinvest, that means I've got to turn around and set the base price at 40. Okay, and then the shipping on top of it. Now, the nice part about it is when I talk about profit sharing, I've got to sell it for 40 in order to make the money to be able to reinvest 20 of that to get them printed again, which means when I talk about 54% or 94% of the net profit, I think that's what it works out to. I'm looking at 94%, or, well, let's give you an actual number. We take this, we go 20 times 0.94 means of that $20 profit I'm making on the printing side of it, $18.80 of it, and that's just a rough calculation at this point, will end up going back out to people in the way of, will go back out in the way of profit sharing. Now, on the plus side, I don't need to worry about whether people believe it. I have to worry about whether I do. Oh, and Derek's just saying, and I will pass this on his behalf. Derek is just saying, forgot to say happy early Memorial Day and respect to anyone who has lost a family member that were serving their country. Respect to military men and women. Okay, Derek, are you in? Okay, this might make it clear. Okay, I don't think I've got your address yet, but this may make it a whole lot clearer for you. Let's take that. This email address. Okay, don't worry about sending it by email. Okay, this email address itself actually works with PayPal. I've got a PayPal account. You can get into PayPal, and using that email, they'll send it off to me and it'll walk you through it. Basically, what it boils down to is they'll tell you this is how much it's going to cost you. But keep in mind, because I don't know where you are, but keep in mind that we are talking Canadian dollars. Okay. The PayPal will tell you how much you need to do, the whole 9 yards. Okay. And then once that is done, it'll come to me. It'll ask you to make sure you put your full mailing address there. So because I'm going to require a physical mailing address. Okay. Because the physical mailing address is how I'll get it to you. But that may eliminate a lot of the question. Derek, the answer is yes. Okay. And that is the big, I hate the cost of shipping. And when I find a cheaper way, when I find a cheaper way to ship it, I will. But at this point, that has not been successful. But this book, when you order it through me, first of all, it will be signed. And I think they're already all signed anyway. I believe when they come in, I usually end up signing them right away. But in any event, they are signed. There are color maps in them. Okay, and I always make sure that I get them signed regardless. But here's the thing. This is the birth of the Wolfpack. This is where it all starts, in a sense. I've already got in print this one. Where'd it go? I've already got in print volume 2, which is technically, well, it's literally book 11 in the saga. But if you notice this, when we put them together and you look at the spine, it will have a complete picture when I get done the whole thing. Right. And if you look at the back, when you lay them out together, they actually form that was wrong. They form the other way. They actually form a complete picture. All 12 books are involved in the same picture. It's already been designed. Okay. So that's how that works. Now, like I said, when I started looking at the whole idea of profit sharing, I looked at it and went, okay, how do I make this work? Okay, so I ran the whole 9 yards. Every one of the books that I've got, now that's only 2 of them, and I've got 7. If you go to, where is it? This little website. If that is not what I wanted. If you go to this little website, you'll actually find the description of all the books that I've got and that are already out. Okay. Now, that's easy, but that may solve the problem for you regarding email. Okay. Like, I'm just going through these books here. Some of these people I've got to reach out to just to find out and just to reconnect with them and find out who they are. But the thing I look at is when a payment comes in, okay, and this is just the way I look at business. A payment comes in, I give myself 3 business days to get the book or to get the merchandise out and into the mail, heading for wherever it's going. Now, I should be clear about one little detail. That $60 is in Canada and the continental US. Okay, because the fact of the matter is we start getting into Europe and it gets pricier than all get out. Gee, I've got names in here I forgot all about. But that works out well. So I'm looking at all of this, going, how do I turn around and make this company, get the message out? Because one of the biggest things I'm really looking at. Oh, there we go. Perfect, Derek. I do appreciate that, and thank your wife very much for me. Glad to see I'm not the only one that relies on somebody else to pull up information on the internet. As you've seen, I get a little lost with it, which is really odd when you think about the fact that I can turn around and write. Well, right now I've got between 35 and 40 books that I'm in the process of writing right now. Okay. And this is why I say I will start racking them off. Believe in your finances and follow your dreams. If my estimation is correct, I should be able to tie it off. I should be able to tie it off within the week and then get it to print. I've already found out the price it's going to cost me to print it. And I'm just striving to get a few things sorted around. So it's going to be a work in progress. But here's the neat part, from my standpoint, and this comes right back to what Derek was and what you were saying earlier, or what Derek was saying earlier. Okay, about working together. The fact of the matter is, distribution is a royal pain. Now, the newsletter, which will eventually evolve into a magazine, is going to be free. No matter how I do it, it itself will be free because it's my advertising budget. Will I end up turning around and working out a cost for somebody putting an advertisement in it? The answer is yes. But until I reach a certain number of subscriptions, and I don't know what that number will be yet, there will be no viable reason to actually start charging for it. Okay. I do have an idea. I've got to work the logistics out on it. Where it comes to doing anything effectively, it is imperative that you do 2 things. Okay. I was talking to a mentor of mine, and I asked the guy, yeah, that 60 there, Derek, that $60 is in your hand, shipping included. Okay. It's just unfortunately the cost of shipping is mind-boggling. I have managed to work out numbers a little bit more effectively, to bring costs down. And part of that, like, as I get more money in my hands, I'll be able to order a bigger inventory or hold a bigger inventory, and thereby I'll be able to bring the cost down again. And it really boils down to that. To give you an idea of how set I am on the idea of bringing the price down, right before COVID hit, okay, I mean, never mind all the ins and outs of it. It's a time reference point. Right before COVID hit, I was charging for my consulting, because bear in mind, I've got over 40 years of doing so. Okay, with about an 85% return. Okay, as far as clients coming back, either looking for me personally or with somebody they're referencing. Okay. Oh, I honestly don't know. It depends on the information. Now, let me see here. If I let me call up my website here, or not my website, but the okay, let's do it that way. We open that up. I've actually got a hot link to the US Canadian dollar exchange. So if I go there onto the Canadian dollar exchange, see if you're going through PayPal, you just highlight the Canadian dollar and put in the 60, and it'll tell you what the US is. But I'm on the Canadian dollar US exchange rate, and it works out at $60 Canadian right now. It's 44 US. More specifically, it's 44.09. Okay. Now I closed that down, so I didn't close it. Yeah, and that works fine. You know, because I know I don't understand the reason that $1 is worth less than the other, but what you're looking at there, Derek, is the 45 American. What is today? I'm just wondering what the day is. Oh, this is Sunday. Okay, so with that, once the money clears, okay, like once it's in my PayPal account or in my account, doesn't matter. That means from that point, within 3 business days, it'll be airborne. Well, whether it's airborne or land, I don't know. That will absolutely do it quite well there, Derek. Okay. And like I said, as soon as he gets here, within 3 days of that, now I'll be going, if it comes in tonight, for instance, I'd be going out tomorrow if the money's there, and it'll just be shipped. Emmy, where are we? Okay. Uh-oh. And if you're referring to the question there that, oh, where are we? Yeah, Derek, if we're referring to the cost of the book, I do appreciate you doing that, Emmy. Okay, as far as bringing it to my attention that we're missing a question. Okay, I've been trying to follow this. Where are we? Derek has a question, and the last question I've got from Derek is, would the $46 American be safe? That will cover it all? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. If I've missed one up earlier, what have we got here? Go back up. Oh, we saw that part. I'm hoping that's what we're referring to. But, it's really kind of a wonderfully challenging setup, striving to keep everything going in the right direction. That being said, I'm bound and determined I'm going to make it happen. Do I have that? Nope. But it now boils down to, thank you so much, Sir Derek. I do appreciate it. The reality is, I've got from my standpoint, one of the things I'm doing, like, okay, maybe we'll try that one thought process at a time. What do you think? You know, I've got this dream of getting getting the information that's up here onto paper in book or booklet form or in the newsletter to help people get their brain wrapped around one particular point. Well, actually, technically two. One being that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. The other one is almost regardless of what your dream is, there is likely a way to make it happen. Okay. And will I help? Will I do what I can to help people sort things out? Absolutely. Okay. I will absolutely do what I can. From my standpoint, I figure if I'm going to tell people that I will help where possible, this does not mean I will throw money anywhere. Okay. First and foremost, and I've been very blatant about this. One thing I will not do is I will not turn around and put money into a registered charity. Okay. Into a registered charity, into a nonprofit organization for two factors. One is way too much in my experience, way too much of it, as in, we're talking about, in the case of your registered charities, most of them, you're looking at 10, from my research, you're looking at maybe 10% of the money you're donating actually goes to the charity. So when I talk about taking a chunk of my money and turning around and using it for charity, I'm talking about walk into a restaurant, look at the table and go, there's a family, they're out for dinner. Maybe they've got enough money to work with. Maybe they don't. Okay. But there is a massive group of people that are being badly overlooked by the government, by the nonprofit organizations, by the charities. Okay, that is the working poor. Those of you that are out there working tooth and nail to make things happen, just to get by. Okay, so if I'm going to take, let's say I've got at the end of the month, I've got $60, which is, let's say I've got $60 being in excess of my necessity. We're talking $60 that can be pulled out of net profit. Okay, if I've got that, I can walk into a restaurant and go, here, I'm just gonna pay your meal. Or when I'm going to a grocery store, I've got the extra money. I can look at it and go, okay, I can see what's going on here. I'm just picking up the bill. And the only thing I'm going to be doing with that, the only way I'm going to do that, is if the entire side of the administration and administrative costs is absorbed by me, by my company. That's just the way it's going to be. Now, in time, I will figure out how to get things set up so that legally I can take other people's money, pool it with my own, and then move it out. But here's the kicker to it. Okay, when I do that, if somebody says I'm donating $200 to this charity, okay, I want to help with $200. That $200, not a nickel, will end up in my pocket. That will all go to somebody else. Problem is, I'm the only one that will be determining who does it, who it goes to. Now, there's a funny little sidetrack on that may happen. I get a bunch of money in, and I find out that one of the people that's been donating money, okay, or contributing money is a better way of putting it, is in trouble. I may well turn around and send a chunk of money back. But again, this is something I figured out how to track the whole 9 yards. Okay. And this is why when I was told years ago where it came to playing Dungeons and Dragons, I was told that I don't actually play Dungeons and Dragons just to relax. I use it as a way of manifesting. Now, just about in the last 10 years, pretty much every character I've run has ended up building an empire. Okay, so to give you an idea where that's going, I've already got the newsletter that's going to become a magazine. Okay, I've already got it laid out. The books are already in order. You know, and am I already going, yes, I will come on to somebody else's stream and discuss just about anything. There are topics here, I'll tell you, I just won't go to. But people have to realize, and I know I set somebody up. There was a guy that used to come through here regularly, but I flat out refused to give him an answer to a question because I literally had not been given permission to do so. Well, he took offense to it, and frankly, I haven't seen him back here in months. Okay, so when I go, this is the boundaries I'm working on, it's because those are quite literally my boundaries. I don't worry about whether it's politically correct. And yeah, I will absolutely say things that some people will look at and go, oh, you shouldn't talk like that. And I look at them and going, I try and avoid the ones that are really complicated. Okay, that can cause problems. Because I don't know about you, but I don't need the hassle. Okay. So what I'm looking at this point is when I get done here today, and I think I've still got them all open, do I not? Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 11 pictures up that have to be moved into Races of the World to get them out of the way. To get the second printing put together properly. This is just one of those things that I'm looking at going, how am I going to make this work so that everybody that I desire to help can be helped? Okay, it's a very odd way of doing things from what I gather. But I look at it saying, well, why not? Is that, wonder how far back that goes. I don't know. Let's go to there, and we have, let us refresh that. Whole pile of email I'm gonna have to go through. And I find it weird because I get so much in the way of email that I'm looking at it and going, you're just trying to get me to buy something I've got no interest in. And half the time at least when I hit the unsubscribe button, half the time it doesn't seem to work. But the reality of it is, from my end, I look at it going, okay, how can I get the message out? How can I actually help people understand that we are looking at a situation, that we are looking at a situation where the world is possible to turn around. Okay, that's the difficult part because so many people run into roadblocks where you're sitting there going, but I just desire to help. And that's all I'm looking at. Okay, well, essentially. Okay, because here's the thing. If I'm going to sit here and tell you this can be done, okay, I'm not saying so lightly. And you'll come to understand that one. Okay, and the nice part about it, and I suspect absolutely, I was just going to ask you guys a question, but absolutely, I've got to draft up a document that can be sent out with each book from the perspective of of a referral. Okay, to encourage people to spread word. Okay, this is just the way I'm looking at the world. Going, how do I make this happen? But there's a lot to be done, and the thing is, I'm a recluse. I've been a recluse for a decade. Well, realistically, it's been 13 years now that I've been rather reclusive. You know, my area of travel, most people, regardless of the size of the city, most of you travel inside a 9-block square area. Okay, myself, I travel, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I travel inside of about a 5-block. Maybe it might be maybe a little bigger, but I don't think so. Okay, on the whole, I stay pretty close to home. You know, but this is the time that it's time that we really get excited about the positive side, about the outcome that we can have with this world, and about the things that can be accomplished, instead of this idea of looking at how much we can lose. And let's face it. Yeah, like I said, I have, in a sense, gained to set things in motion where essentially this actually makes me immortal. Okay, and for all of you that haven't got anything written, understand, as long as, in my opinion, in my experience, as long as people world, how we doing? As long as people remember who you are, preferably in a positive fashion, you're still living on in essentially immortality. Now, world, where are we? Here we are. That's okay, I'm just gonna die tonight. I'll get over it. Okay, what do we got here? That should be that should be right there. And there is the link to World's YouTube channel. Drop in, he's got some fabulous videos. I'm not one to tell you whether the videos are real or whether they're authentic. Okay. But I will tell you, there is no question the world has a tendency of double checking everything. You're more than welcome there, world. World, as I mentioned to Nathan earlier, okay, it would be appreciated if because I've got your website, your YouTube channel here, but if you would be kind enough to post the time that you run your channel, your show, that would be really. I'll tack it on. I'll tack it on to my onto my soft copy, so I can repost it at the same time. So it's not just a question of here, go and see him and try and see and find him, but here's when you can find him. Okay, there we are. Sunday at 8 Central. Oh, okay. That's got to mean you're going on right away here. Where are we here? World is Sunday at 8 Central. Okay, perfect. I do have that written down. I will get it moved over. You've got to be going live here pretty quick then. Christine, how you doing? Glad you could join us. I am turning around. Oh, okay. Oh, that's no fun. World's just going, no show tonight. Busy with IRL problems. Recovering a wrecked camper from Gemstone Mountains this weekend. Oh, now that's always going to be challenging. See, that kind of job I can do, at least not on my own. I mean, I got a bad leg to start with, but much more importantly, I go out into that kind of terrain, I'm just going to get lost. And that's not a cop out from my end, it's just a reality. Yeah, I haven't actually seen that one, Christine. Something just dawned on me there, world. This camper that you're going out to get, I'm hoping it doesn't belong to you. Okay, as in I'm hoping it wasn't your camper that went into the bin. Yeah, and Christine, I don't myself, I don't know this particular movie at all. But, that's not entirely a shock, if you will. So from that end, I'm looking at this going, there's got to be a way because there's got to be a way to help people because I'll tell you, the people that have a lot of money seem to have, in my opinion, really dropped the ball. Oh, perfect. I will have to go and take a look at that. And maybe what I'll be able to do, and it really boils down to what other things I've got to get a few things sorted out tonight. But if it's on his channel, I'll go find it. Oh, world, I do feel for you. I've got my own opinion on what should happen to people like the one that took your bike and what have you. I had a slightly different word for it, you know, but I appreciate the way you put that, Christine. It does get the point across. You know, myself, I do my best to avoid certain conversations or certain thought processes. Well, I appreciate that, Christine. you know, I mean, I'm looking at this going, I have no problem with sticking within the boundaries of somebody else. Like I said, I'm a firm believer you must follow the laws of the land in which you are. Now, YouTube has some very specific boundaries, and most of them are just plain common sense. Okay. So, my saying there are channels out there that I absolutely disagree with is not a big problem. Okay. But starting to pin them down by name can be. Oh, Derek is going, Danielle Diva is going to be helping my wife with and the missing person case with her sister. Big Tex did a show on my sister-in-law this past Monday. That is fantastic. Not trying to be coy here, there, world, but I do hope she doesn't have his thirst for blood. You know, that could be problematic. But that's one of those bloodlines that you look at going, now that shows you, the funny part about it is this, in my opinion. People are not gauged by the height to which they climb so much as by the depth from which they have climbed. Now, I know that my ancestry, you know, my ancestry puts my brother before he passed away did a breakdown on my ancestry. I got you back at it. But apparently our ancestors were sitting on the throne in Wales during the War of the Roses. Not exactly our most auspicious time. We may also be related to the engineer that designed to the architect that designed the Titanic. You know, not necessarily the best track record, but hey, what the heck? You know, but I look at it this way. It literally takes all kinds of people to run this world. Okay, and if it weren't for some of the negative people, we wouldn't know what the positive ones look like. But from my standpoint, I would rather hang around with positive people. And that's what I find so wonderfully fascinating about this place. You know, that's one thing about this particular room is so many of you are so genuinely supportive of the other people in here. I can actually come in here and go, I know it's going to be a relaxing period. You know, Where were we? That's intriguing. Well, ultimately, if you think about it, you know, Derek's just saying there's rumors that the Titanic was actually sabotaged. Well, I do know that the original design that the architect put together had the bulkheads going all the way to the ceiling and being absolutely sealed, lock solid. Okay, but when they went to manufacture, when the construction crew got to work, in order to save money, they left about 4 feet about at the top of the rooms, at the top of the bulkheads, where they didn't close the roof. They didn't close the wall. And that in and of itself is what dumped the ship. Now, if you call that sabotage, I'll go with it. But I haven't personally heard of anything about it other than that side of it. And that was an that was a construction disaster. Now, let us see. If we take this and hit refresh, see what happens. But no, I'm now actively looking at ways of making things start to grow. Oh, that's why that's not showing up. It dodged on me again. You know, I do find it fascinating with my computer. It keeps periodically the chat room will shift from live to top chat, and I'll lose some of the questions. So I have to keep a really close eye on that side of it. But I'm looking at the way this whole thing is run, this whole situation is going, and go, okay, how do we get people to get excited about your life, not about mine? Okay, I'm quite content with mine. It's not as well as I want, as I desire. It's not doing everything I'd like to yet, but I'm on the right track. Matter of fact, it was really neat. This morning, I got up and found out that one of the credit cards I have, I've only had the card for 6 months, and they just turned around because what's been happening is I've been keeping the spending under 10% of what's available and paying it off every month. Well, 6 months later, they sent me a letter, just like I said, I just got it this morning, going, we are going to, if you desire it, we will almost double your credit limit. Right. Because of the fact I've been doing it the way it should be done, not the way I did it the first two times I got credit cards. First two times were an absolute disaster. And this is one of the neat little tools I'm going to be explaining in Believe in Your Finances and Follow Your Dreams. Okay, because this is a question of finding a way to help you avoid some of the problems, some of the pitfalls that I personally went through. I don't know about you, but if somebody would point out where I was in the process of making a miscalculation, it would possibly make my life so much easier. Don't know if that's necessarily the case, but it is nice to think about. You know, and just going back to your world, I'm just hoping that when you get out to the camper, that at least part of it is salvageable. Hopefully the majority of it. You know, but this is one of those things, like my dad worked search and rescue for years. Matter of fact, I've got it right here. Just gotta make sure I don't hurt myself. This neat little thing here, I think I've showed it to you before. That is the last remaining part of an actual railroad track from a 15-car cargo railway or cargo train picking a fight with a bull moose in the middle of rutting season. Oh, excellent. Yeah, we're just going, he's okay. The camper had a blowout on the interior rear tire. And I know myself from the vehicles I've looked at least you've got stability. It's so much better than losing the whole wheel. You know, because it's dual back tires. The other tire may not make it back here. So he's got to grab a local company to go out there and install a new tire. Yeah, and depending on where it is, that can be a royal pain. But yeah, just, the way I look at it, doesn't matter what vehicle you're driving. Okay, you're literally, if you've got a four-wheel vehicle, you're literally dealing with about 16 square inches of rubber that you got to worry about. Okay, because it doesn't matter how good the car is. If those tires go, you're in serious trouble. Especially if you're doing a speed that doesn't work well. Okay, I mean that's the same as when I'm out buying stuff. I will turn around. In case you haven't noticed, they actually don't make the shirts that I wanted. Okay, but I was looking for golf shirts with an actual pocket, chest pocket. They apparently don't make them anymore. Yeah, no, Emmy, he doesn't have coconut. I don't think. You know, I've always wondered if Bigfoot would ever get around to driving a car, but they usually beat on the things. Yeah, the legend, Derek, the legend of the Ten Rings. I've actually watched on Netflix before. It's actually not a bad movie, at least not my opinion. Comes out 10 Eastern, so right after we get done this. Well, that's always handy. Yeah, world goes. It's the only gas station within 40 miles of where I blew it out. Yeah, that can be a royal pain in the neck. I mean, you blew the tire out there. I'm guessing with no cell service. This means you had one heck of a hike to get back into the area. Back into civilization, as it were. I'm just looking because I'm thinking. No, I was thinking I broke my toe when I started my car just a little while ago. But apparently not. Ah, oh, nice. Yeah, Derek's going, satellite phones are always good to have. I used to actually have two man-pack radios from the what was it from? I had two man-pack radios from World War II. Turned them over to the museum because I just frankly didn't have a lot of use for them. You know, but I still remember when cell phones first came out, you were looking at this massive chunk of metal, chunk of circuitry, right? You almost had to go in and go to weightlifting classes in order to carry the thing. But yeah, I'm just thinking if you're 40 miles out in the middle of nowhere, well, to go 40 miles, if you're traveling an average of 5 miles an hour on foot, you're looking at an 8-hour walk. Um, I think I do. In all fairness, Derek. I just don't remember specifically if it was Nextel. Okay. But some of the older phones, they were just, I mean, the ones today are great in a lot of ways, but they still have their hiccups. Okay. But was it Nextel from somewhere in the late 80s, early 90s? Ah, yeah, we're just going first ones, the brick. Early 2000s, okay. Yeah, at that point, I was still locked into the landline. I didn't even get into cell phones until somewhere, well, I don't think I even got my first cell phone until after 2008. I don't think I had a cell phone while I was still married. I honestly don't recall when I actually got a phone. Got a cell phone, that is. Oh, heavens, Derek. This is one of the things I caution people about, is that if the internet goes down, okay, if we had a massive EMP pulse and the internet collapses, we have a massive problem because most of the information, most of our advancements in the last 100 years are tied up on the internet. Okay, this is one of the reasons, you know, this is one of the reasons why I am working to get this information on paper now. Okay, because a lot of the information, and I know we have people in here that do their own canning and what have you, that information is on the verge of getting lost. Okay, and this is one of the biggest problems that we're going to run into. And I'll tell you, I've seen this, I've seen civilizations collapse. I remember being there. Well, we can go back just a little bit. You know, I remember the Exodus leaving, I told people how things went down when we left Egypt. I remember the collapse of the Roman Empire. I remember the Black Plague. Now, the Black Plague, the Black Death, for me, that was an extremely profitable lifetime. Very profitable. Very sad for a lot of people. I myself lost my wife and two kids to that thing. Okay. But boy, did I make money hand over fist on it. And no, money is not the be all and end all. It's certainly not where I put my focus. Yeah, honestly, world, they are. Speaking of which, I don't think I got that done yet, but that's okay. I'll take a look at that. I gotta go back through things to make sure I've got it. Guys, I gotta go out tomorrow and get a couple of things done anyway. It's funny, I try and do all my running around early and then get it out of the way for whatever day I'm working with. Because I'll tell you, the less I have to leave the house, the happier I am. But yeah, this is one of the reasons, the novels I'm writing, those are pure entertainment, as are the children's books. Well, I shouldn't say pure entertainment, because with the Yldrbac Chronicles, I do cover, especially in the earlier volumes, I do cover soulmates, soul families, soul twin flames. I do cover the idea of reincarnation, how it comes about, okay, evolution, the whole nine yards. All of these concepts are discussed in the middle of the books. Okay. And even when you're looking at the birth of the wolf pack, okay, even starting right there are references to books that took place earlier on, and they will eventually come out. At my current rate, because I had to put everything on, well, I didn't have to put everything on hold, but I ran into a problem with one company that I would never recommend them again. Okay. And that's actually part of what prompted me to look at it and go, I've got to get things moving so I can build an actual publishing company that will publish books properly and that will do what they say they're going to. Okay, timing is a royal pain for me because I literally can't track it. But there are ways of compensating. So I'm looking at this going, okay, where do we go from here? That's the big reality of it. But I can tell you where we do have to go from here. And with that in mind, guys, I do want to say thank you so very much for joining me today, for sharing your time with me. I really appreciate it. We're hitting the 2-hour mark here. So I am going to bring this to a close. Say thank you so much. Until we meet again, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.